let's talk about blocking out the noise in 2025. Do you need to block out the noise? In other words, do you have your priorities set? Do you have your goals set, your intentions set? Do you have that vision cast yet for your 2025? Completing the vision requires you to block out the noise. And what kind of noise are we talking about? Oh my gosh, we're talking about everything. There is seriously so much noise in this world, including in our own minds. Usually that's where most of the noise is. So we have our own thoughts, we have our own feelings. That's why the Bible tells us not to lean on our own understanding. We also have other people's comments, other people's opinions, and we just have all the things that are going on in the world. And one of the number one noises that you need to block out is the comparison of what other people are doing. I never realized that I was comparing myself, and I wasn't doing it in an envious way. I was just thinking, man, I wish I could speak the way this person speaks, or I wish I could carry myself the way that this person carries herself. But what I've learned is that God made you exactly the way He made you for a reason. And for me, that was one of the biggest things that I had to kind of get past. The biggest hurdle that I've had to jump over is realizing that what I have to say, what I bring to the table, is of very much value, not because it has anything to do with myself, but because of what God has instilled in me. So let me ask you this. What gift has God instilled in you? What do you know that you're supposed to be doing? And are you looking at other people that are doing similar things and thinking, well, I can't do that because I don't do it the way this person does, or I could never do it the way that she does it? Have you ever thought about this? Maybe you're not supposed to do it the way that she does it. Do you know whenever God puts something in your heart to do, whenever He plans something for you, it's not because He wants you to be like everybody else. It's actually because He wants you to be different than the way that other people do something. If you are here right now, then you probably know that I wrote a book a couple of years ago called The Covenant Woman. This is a book all about helping women grow their faith in all of God's promises and take a hold of what He promises them. This is an assignment that God gave me whenever I was seeking Him for direction on my calling in life, what my specific calling was. And let me tell you, the very last thing that I would have ever imagined God telling me to do would be to write a book. And for those of you who know, you know that I had no experience in that department whatsoever, but God called me to it. It was an assignment from Him. So I could have spent all of my time, and I know I did spend a little bit of my time, looking at what other people had done and thinking, oh my gosh, I will never, ever be like that person. I could never write the way she writes, or I could never speak the way she speaks. I could never carry myself the way that she carries herself. But here's the thing, I wasn't supposed to. You're not supposed to be like everyone else. One of the main compliments that I get on my book is that it's easy to understand, and it's been written in a way that anybody can read it. I can be proper when I need to be proper, but I'm not a woman of a bunch of eloquent words, and my writing reflects that. I am not your typical writer. If I spent too much time trying to mimic what other writers are doing, guess what? The people who are supposed to read my message, those who God wants to touch through my work or through my writing or my messages, guess what? It's not going to happen. They need to be able to relate to me. Just like those who others have been called to touch and allow God to touch through them, they need to relate to those people. So do not get caught up in comparing your gifts, your skills, your value with that of others. Allow God to work through you the way that He wants to work through you. And block out all the other noise. Block out what other people are doing. Block out your thoughts, because I'm telling you, we've talked about this several times, but Satan works in the mental arena. So whenever he gives you a thought, because that's what he does, he tries to give you thoughts. He can't work in your spirit. That's not his territory. But he will get in your head, and he will try to instill thoughts there and try to get you to come into agreement with those thoughts. So if he can get you thinking like, oh, I'm not good enough, I could never do what that person does. I'm better off just not doing anything. I'm better off not going after the thing that God put on my heart. I'm better off not going after that vision, not even setting the vision, because I'm not good enough. If he can get you into agreement with that, that's going to hold you back from the life that God has for you, the plans that God created you for. You're going to have to block out those feelings whenever you are telling yourself you're not good enough. whenever you are viewing yourself in a way that you shouldn't be viewing yourself. Block out the noise, block out the thoughts, block out the feelings. Don't let your thoughts, don't let your feelings, don't let the opinions of others, because here's the thing, the opinions of others will be there no matter what, but whose opinion actually matters? God. God's plans for you are what matters. God's opinion of you is what matters. It's up to you. That vision is ultimately up to you. But where you are right now is a completely different place than you could be in at the end of this year. Where do you want to be? What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to allow Satan's opposition, the opposition and comments from others, do you want to allow that to hold you back from the plan of God? Think about it. It's the plan of God. It's what God planned for you before you were ever even conceived. He had that plan already for you. His plans are so good. They're so fulfilling. They're going to bring about a joy and a peace that you could never even imagine. So block out the noise and don't compare yourself to others. Don't allow Satan's tactics to work. And don't compare your goals, your vision, your skills, your gifts, what you bring to the table, what God has instilled in you. He put those gifts inside of you. And the plans that He has for you require what you have, not what someone else has. Not somebody else's perfectly graceful way of doing things, but maybe your messy way of doing it. God made you that way for a reason. And there's only one way to keep that noise completely blocked out. Romans 12:2, it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So you stay in the Word and you stay close to God. That's how you block out the noise. That's how you block out the enemy. That's how you block out opposition. That's how you block out those thoughts and allow God to remind you what His plans are for you. Allow Him to lead you. Just stay obedient to Him. Stay in His will. Stay in His Word. And do not be conformed to this crazy, chaotic world. Because although you're in this world, you and I, we're here. We're in this world. We're not of this world. I hope this helps you as you are moving along throughout 2025.